James stuff today that led to his career high in the strikeouts with 8. What is it about his pitching style that works so well today?
Well, he was able to keep his fastball down for the most part. He'd go up on occasion with maybe 2 strikes, get a swing up top. Other than that, he'd spin the breaking ball off the fastball that's up. He had really good command of his curveball today, and with a predominantly right-handed, hitting team that was out there. And he got some fastballs in on people. He had good fastball command. The strikeouts almost led a little bit to a spike pitch count for him at that time, and laboring through the 6th inning, that was a big inning for him, big inning for us. So he pitched a great game today.
What, if anything, did he have left? Could he have given you another inning?
When he came in, he was just, we didn't even ask. When he came in, I'm sure more often than not, the pitchers can tell you they can give you another inning. But I just felt the volume of pitches that he had thrown, finishing up, I think he was just under 100 at the time. The development of what he's taken, another good step, his 3rd good step in a row. It was a win for him as far as just a very good outing.
Don't it look 1 pitch, 1 zone in that spot?
We did. We talked about it before we went up. We were going 2 runs down. We needed 1 pitch in 1 zone, and we don't want to swing at anything spinning early. And man, did he whack that thing. He caught that thing right on the barrel. What a big swing of the bat for us. Especially, things were kind of spinning the wrong way, and he put a foot down and changed the direction of the game.
Good reward for...
Can you talk about how well Domer's done just this year in adapting to the part-time role? And he seems to have taken to it as well as he could.
Well, there's no doubt. For me, he's taken to it as well as he could have. Jim, we talked, I think, about it in the office the other day. But, you need to talk to him about his mentality, but I know him and I talked throughout the winter. A couple, 3 times, just about how this thing was transgression right after the Overbay trade. Also, as we're going in, I double-checked up with a couple people. We talked through spring training. And the one thing I kept talking to him about is, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I know I want it to play out the best for you. And for it to play the best out for you, you need to show up, control what you can control, and let things go where they may. You can still play. You can still help us. That's only going to help you down the long run. And he took on that mentality over the winter, through the winter, into spring training. And all the way through he has. He's handled it as professionally as you could ever want a player to.
Clint, just the obligatory question about the record. Outside the building, there are a lot of happy people that you guys are at 500. Inside, is it even a mark that you think about at this point?
Well, you know what? I do think some of the guys are probably, we've pushed a couple times on the road, a couple, 3 times maybe together with 1 at home, trying to get to it. I want people to feel what they need to feel, because I can't control what everybody else feels. And if there's good feelings out there, so be it. And I can understand outside this building, completely can understand that. We're on the road where we want to go. That would be one of the, the mile markers that you need to get by. And now we need to work on the shelf life, of pushing forward from here.
You talked a lot about the starters piggybacking one another. Is that exactly what we saw this series between Mahal and Moore and McDonald?
Well, I think that's very accurate. They are so into watching the other guy pitch, all of them. And when that guy pitches, they pretty much back away. There's not a lot of in-game communication. Communication stays with Ray and the catcher. But I do think it's like anything else. Hitting, you hear people talk about hitting being contagious all the time. I think that happens with your starting pitching. We had the bullpen on a run for a while where it's contagious. They just kept rolling through things. So I do believe that nobody wants to drop the ball, drop the baton.
How concerned are you about the inability to execute bunt plays defensively on a more consistent basis?
Well, Paul, that is a great question. That's maddening right now, because the one thing you give them credit for is Quintero's running on the pitch. But we need Neal to get to second base quicker. That way the throw, Wood had to hold the ball a little bit and throw. So that's been one of our biggest concerns coming out. We had worked so hard in spring training, and it has definitely not been major league average or acceptable through this part of the season. And we've been out on the field. Now that we've been able to get out on the field a little bit, to put that back in play and work on it. But that's no excuse. We've just got to do a better job at it, because it's definitely cost us a couple different times.
You talked about hitting is contagious, but when you win games like this, how much does that help with the belief, maybe in the locker room, that the last 17 years or whatever really don't matter? That
I do believe tangible evidence, pushes everything forward a little bit, and, you know, these guys, there's not many of them that are holding the baggage from the last 18 years. I got a couple that were only born, you know, they were 4 years old when this whole thing started, at least one of them that I know of. But to understand the city where you live, and if you pick up a paper or you turn on the TV, you hear about it, so it's not like you need to stick your head in the sand and deny it. And I do think, you know, that could be something that, you know, obviously success, our ball club in there, nothing breeds more confidence like having some success. And now it'll be up to us to see if we can piggyback this and, you know, continue to move forward and play the kind of ball that's going to win you games, play complete games.
Well, you have a change from last year, the attitude from last year. Do you feel that in the room?
I wasn't here last year, so I really don't know. I don't have anything to compare it to. And, you know, people telling me things, that still doesn't give you that experience. All I know is I spent a lot of time talking to the players. And I asked them 3 specific questions over the winter. And one of them is, what can you do to be a better player this year, specifically one thing on offense or one thing on defense? I asked them what could they do in the clubhouse to make it a better clubhouse for us. And the other guys that aren't in the clubhouse, you know, and then I added on the dugout and the bullpen. So we talked about it, and I think everybody has at least embraced that through spring training. We revisited about what they need to do. We need to push people forward. Chris Reesop's in there. He wasn't probably as happy as everybody else, but you know what? It's a lot easier to live when you don't do something wrong, when your teammates pick you up and you move it forward. So nobody was pitching better than him, you know, a short while ago.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Clint.